Shalom. I'm Rabbi Davidovich, speaking to you on behalf of the webyeshiva.org, speaking to you from Efrat, Israel. This week we have two different Torah readings, the Parsha Mattos and the Parsha of Masai, completing the book of Bamidbar. I'm going to talk about one thing in the first Parsha, Parsha Mattos. And what I'm going to talk about is the holiness of speech that we learn from something that is stated in this Parsha. At the very beginning of the week's Torah reading, a command is given to us by God that if somebody makes a neder, takes a vow to do something, the Torah uses the words lo yachel devoro. He shouldn't make his words profane. And it says, whatever you say, you should do. Okay, so the one aspect of that is, if you say something, you say you're going to do something, your word is important. But the usage of the word lo yachel devoro is a very interesting thing, because Rashi, the great commentator, says that this means lo yasu devoro chulin. You shouldn't make your words profane. The Netivot Shalom explains that our mouths are like the kli shoresh in the Beit Hamikdash, the holy vessels that were used to serve God in our holy temples in Jerusalem. And he points out that many of our commandments and many of the ways in which we serve God are through our mouth. And for example, the studying of Torah. You study Torah, we should say the words. It's not just enough to read it like a book, but to say the words out loud. Tefillah, to pray to God, say the words. The different commandments, Zachar Yom Shabbos L'Kadosh, remember the holy Sabbath, make it holy, remember it with words, talking about the Sabbath. Remembering the Exodus from Egypt, remembering with words. Remember what Amalek did to you, again, remembering with words. So words are the key to serving God. And what God is commanding us here is that we have to keep our mouths holy, just as we would a holy vessel. How do you keep your mouth holy? By being careful to not defile your mouth with things that you shouldn't be saying. To not defile your mouth with lashon hara, talking about somebody else. Not defile your mouth with expressing anger or rage. Being careful what you say, recognizing that your words have an effect. There is an interesting story that illustrates the danger of lashon hara. Lashon hara is defamatory speech, speaking ill about somebody else. And whether it's true or not makes no difference. Speaking ill about somebody else is forbidden. And that can come under the same thing. If you want to keep your mouth holy, you don't speak defamatory words about somebody. You don't embarrass somebody in public. Embarrassing somebody is the equivalent of killing somebody, because when you embarrass somebody in public, the blood rises to his face becomes red. It's almost like killing him. You're killing his reputation. And there's an interesting story of a person who was a chatterbox, I guess is not a better word for it than that. He was very interested, and he was a good person, basically, but every time he heard something about somebody else, he made a point of telling his friends about it. And some of the things were laughable. His friends were laughing at it. He was great. He was deriving a great deal of pleasure from this, from just talking about other people and spreading gossip, saying lashon hara. And it's continued for a while. One time, he said something about a businessman in their town. What he said happened to be true, the particular incident. That was not a very nice thing. And the word spread, of course. He said it to his friends said it to others, etc. And before long, the businessman was beside himself. Nobody would do business with him anymore. His reputation was completely ruined. So the rabbi of the town was visited by this businessman, and he came and he cried out to him. He says, "Rabbi, what can I do? I've lost my livelihood because of this. Somebody's spreading these rumors about me and telling how bad I am in business and what I'm doing wrong, and I can't even support my family anymore. My business is down the drain." And the rabbi says, let me see what I can find out. The rabbi knew immediately that it had to be this chatterbox, this person who is constantly out there talking, spreading rumors. He summons him into his office, and he asks him, he says, "Did you spread this rumor about this businessman?" He said, "Yes, I did, but it's true." He says, "Do you have any idea the impact that it made on him?" "No." "It put him out of business. He can't support his family anymore." He says, "It's a terrible thing. The Torah tells you to be careful of your words, to not speak evil about somebody, to not say lashon hara, gossip." And after Rabbi talks for a while, the man realizes that what he had done was wrong, and he says, "Oh, Rabbi, I'm so sorry. What can I do? How can I atone? How can I make up for this? I'll do anything you tell me to do." And the rabbi tells him, says, "Do you have any pillows, any feather pillows in your house?" And the guy says, "Of course, I'm not a poor man. Of course I have feather pillows." He says, "Go bring me a pillow." He brings a pillow to him, and he says, the rabbi says, "What do you want me to do with this pillow? You want me to sell it and give the money to charity?" He says, "No." The rabbi opens the window, and he gives the man a knife, and he says, "I want you to cut a hole in this pillow." And of course, he cut a hole in the pillow, and with the breeze coming in from the outside, before long, the whole room was covered with feathers, and the feathers were going outside. And they were just all over. And the man says, "Well, I'm so sorry. I don't know what this means." And after about 10 minutes, the rabbi said to him, "Okay, I want you to go outside now, and I want you to pick up every one of those feathers and pick up every one of the feathers in this room and put them back into the bag." And he says, "Rabbi, I can't do that. It's impossible. How could I put it back?" He says, "It's the same thing with lashon hara. When you spread gossip about somebody, when you say something, even though it may be true, it's going to ruin that person's reputation, and there's no way of undoing it. Once the word gets out there, it spreads, and you've done a very grave sin to God and to that person by speaking evil of him." So the man was very sorry. He said, the rabbi told him, "Go and apologize to this man for what you did, and apologize to your friends, and let them know that it is not appropriate to speak lashon hara. It is not appropriate to say bad things about somebody else." And this is an appropriate lesson right now, as we're in the 3 weeks leading up to Tisha B'Av, the destruction of the temple, when the second temple was destroyed because of sinas chinam, hatred of one's fellow Jew, Lashon hara, speaking slander, is the epitome of showing how you don't care about somebody else's feelings, and you, in fact, hate them instead of love them. Let's turn this around. Let's watch our mouths. Let's make them holy as the holy vessels they are. And let us replace sinas chinam, baseless hatred, with ahavas chinam, and be able to come into Tisha B'Av and rebuild the Holy Temple. Thank you for listening on behalf of the webyeshiva.org. I wish everybody a Shabbat Shalom.